Have you ever sat at a doctor's office feeling invisible or dismissed? Today's episode isn't about how awful the Western medicine model is. It's about what those doctors were doing that didn't serve your sensitive body and what you need to understand so that you can start decoding what's really going on. I went to a cardiologist because I was having heart pain after having long COVID. In fact, I was still in long COVID at that time and didn't know it. My HRV scores had completely tanked. They were in the 10s and 20s. It was very concerning. And when I went to this cardiologist, the nurse took my pulse. The cardiologist came into the room and looked at me and said, "I don't understand why you're here. You're completely healthy." And he sent me home. I'd been having chest pains for months. I knew something was wrong. So I did what we've been taught to do, what we're supposed to do. I went to a specialist, and he wasn't willing to do any labs. There were no further diagnoses he was going for. He told me I was having muscular pain. I'm a power lifter. I know what that kind of ache and pain feels like, and it wasn't what he was trying to say. He also said it was probably stress and I needed to work on that. Just relax more. When I got into my car and sat in the parking lot, I felt completely invisible. I started crying because I thought I was doing the right thing. So if this is you, if you've ever been in this situation before, yeah, it's a perfect example of everything broken about how we're taught to think about our bodies. Today, we're going to fix that. If you didn't know, this is the Cosmic Body Shenanigans podcast, and I am Amanda Smith, former aerospace engineer turned grounded mystic nervous system translator. I'm going to tell you the truth about what is happening in your sensitive body. Let's get into it. Today, we're talking about one of the most frustrating experiences I hear about over and over for sensitive, intelligent, health-conscious people. You've tried everything and something is still off. I want to start by telling you something extremely important. That is not a sign that healing is not possible for you. That is a sign that you've been given the wrong framework for understanding your body. The way most of us were taught to approach our health, whether through conventional medicine, alternative medicine, or even the wellness world where I'm in, is through what I call single factor thinking. Something's wrong, find the cause, fix the cause, feel better. Hormones are off, balance them. Nervous system's dysregulated, regulate it. Guts inflamed, heal it. This model is super logical. It's clean, it's streamlined, and it works for some people. The cardiologist who dismissed me was operating in this exact model. Chest pain, check the heart. Heart looks good. See you later. But here's what the model completely missed. My nervous system was still fighting a viral invader. My immune system was activated in ways that were showing up in my chest, in my HRV, in my sleep, in my capacity to regulate. My hormones were trying to compensate for all of it. My body was not giving me a single factor problem. It was giving me a full stack, a multi-factor problem. Single factor thinking couldn't see that. And so I was sent home with nothing. Go chill out, relax, stop lifting. If you have a sensitive body, you've probably noticed that single factor models almost never fully hold for you. You do the protocol, you feel a little bit better, and then something comes along and knocks you sideways again. And the question I get most often is why? Why can't I just fix this one thing and be done? The answer is the stacking effect. The stacking effect's what your body is when your body is responding to multiple external and internal inputs at the same time. And their signals are amplifying each other. Think of it like this. Imagine you're in a room with one person speaking. This is completely manageable. You can have a conversation. Now imagine you're in a room with 10 people asking you questions at the same time. Yeah, that's your sensitive body on a stack day. Your nervous system, your fascia, your organs, your bioelectric field, they're all continuously reading and responding. Your hormone cycle and where you're at in it. Electromagnetic activity from the sun, from devices, from Wi-Fi, from the lighting in your room. Biometric pressure shifts, weather changes, seasonal transitions. The emotional environment you move through, including other people's nervous system states landing directly in your field, and your own storied history. The unprocessed emotional residue, the old patterns, the things your body has been holding that haven't been fully metabolized yet. On a day when just one or two of those inputs are active, you might feel like it's manageable. Maybe tired, maybe a little sensitive, but functional. On a day when 4 or 5 of those things stack on top of each other, yeah, that's a day your anxiety spikes for no reason. That's a day your body feels like it's fighting something it can't name. That's the day you end up in the doctor's office with a pulse check, normal results, and absolutely no answers. Before we go further, I want to mention something. If you're nodding right along with this, if this framework is giving you language to something you've been trying to describe for years, April 17th, I'm holding a ceremony. It's live. It's a guided experience where we work with exactly this situation. We map what your body is actually responding to, and I walk you through the decoding process in real time. I'll drop the link in the show notes. If it feels right, come join us. Spots are limited. Okay, let's get back to this story because this is where everything changes. After the cardiologist appointment, I eventually found Dr. Erica Schultz. She's been on the podcast twice. Go check out her episodes. The experience with her was the opposite of invisible. She ran tests, real testing, extensive testing, and what came back from those tests told us a completely different story than muscular pain and stress. Stress was definitely part of it. My HRV scores were low because my nervous system was still in active stress response because of long COVID. And we thought that it had been technically cleared at that point. My immune system was still partially activated. It was fighting. My hormones were completely dysregulated in ways that were directly contributing to the chest pain. Every system was talking to every other system, and none of them were being addressed. Not completely. The pass she gave me wasn't about talk therapy. It was not about adding more stress-reducing practices to my plate because I wouldn't have that. It was specific work on my nervous system, on my immune system, and on my hormones. Multi-factor, addressed in sequence with a plan. And that changed everything. Not overnight, but clearly in a direction I could actually track. I tell you this not to knock the cardiologist because he was doing exactly what his training told him to do. I tell you this because you deserve to know that if you have ever left a doctor's office feeling invisible, it's not because nothing was wrong. It's because the model that that doctor was using couldn't see what was there. You're not broken. You're not more sensitive than other people because something went wrong with you. You're sensitive because you're a highly calibrated biological instrument and your system is doing exactly what it was designed to do. The problem is not your sensitivity. The problem is that no one taught you how to read what your sensitivity is actually reporting. Yes, your symptoms aren't random. They're not a malfunction. They're your body's attempt to communicate in the only language it has, that it's processing more than it currently has capacity to metabolize at once. When you understand that, the entire experience of your body changes. You stop asking, what's wrong with me? And you start asking, what's my body registering right now? That shift is everything. So what does it look like in practice to decode instead of diagnose? Here's another example. I had a client come to me after 3 years of being told her heart rate was elevated. There's hypervigilance, an inability to focus, constant low-grade dread. All of those things were anxiety. She'd done everything by the book. She went to the therapist, she did medication, she was doing meditation, breath work, lifestyle overhaul, food overhaul, all the things. When we started mapping her inputs, the picture became immediate. The week her symptoms had spiked the hardest coincided with a G3 geomagnetic storm, her luteal phase of her cycle, a family visit that she'd been dreading, and 3 consecutive days of poor sleep. Her body was doing math. Accurate, sophisticated, real math. She was not just anxious. She was stacked. And once she had that framework, everything changed. Not because her symptoms disappeared overnight, but because she stopped interpreting them as evidence that something was fundamentally wrong. She started reading them as information she could actually act on. She started tracking her inputs. She got strategic about stacked weeks. She gave herself permission to scale back on high input days. And slowly, steadily, her body started to feel like something she was in conversation with, rather than something she was at war with. If you want to start decoding your own body, the first step, in my humble opinion, is to understand your cosmic sensitive type. Because not all sensitive bodies are responding to the same inputs at the same intensity. Some of us are primarily electromagnetic responders. We're responding to solar energy, geomagnetic activity, the lights in our room. All of those things hit us harder. Others are primarily empathetic responders. That's me. We respond and absorb other people's emotional states into our bodies before we can even realize it. When you do realize it, the way things change is magnificent. Some people are hormonal amplifiers. They're living in the cyclic world, even though our world operates in a linear path for some crazy reason. I've talked about that in other episodes. The patriarchy's clock would be a good episode to listen to if you think you're a cyclic responder, or you've taken the cosmic sensitive quiz and you know you're a Luna. Some people are environmentally sensitive. Barometric pressure changes, seasonal shifts, temperature changes, those are the primary drivers for how their body's responding. The Cosmic Sensitive Quiz will be in the show notes, cosmicsensitivequiz.com, if you want to just go there now. It's 7 questions. It takes 2 minutes. It's kind of fun, and it'll show you where you sit. Start there. Because when you know your type, you can start to predict your stacked days instead of being ambushed by them. So that's what I have for today. If you've ever sat in the parking lot like me after a doctor's appointment feeling invisible, I want you to hear this. You were not imagining it. Your body was not lying. The model they were using just couldn't see the full picture. You deserve a framework that can. If this episode gave you something new to work with, please share it with someone who's having similar issues, you've heard their story. They went to the doctor, they felt invisible, they were completely dismissed, they didn't feel like anything was solved, and they're still broken. The answer might just be that nothing is wrong. Their body is simply reading more than anyone ever told them it was allowed to. If this landed, subscribe. Subscribe wherever you're listening, and if you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button and the bell so that you get the next episode. Because I changed when I'm releasing episodes. I was releasing episodes on Thursdays, now I'm releasing episodes on Mondays. It's a fun little shift in my world. Until then, stay curious, stay oriented, move with what's real, and trust your sensitive body. It knows.